The ICE futures canola market was mostly lower Thursday morning, taking back some of yesterday's gains as the futures ran into chart resistance. Canola 40 cents higher to $1.40 lower. The nearby March contract, it's down $1.20 at $627.30 per ton. Overnight losses in Malaysian palm oil accounted for some spillover selling pressure as the palm market hit its softest levels since October. European rapeseed was also down on the day, while Chicago soy oil is firmer. Canola does remain attractively priced compared to those outside markets, with tightening supply projections and the need to ration demand supportive from a fundamental standpoint. In the U.S., soybean, corn, and wheat futures are trading to both sides of unchanged in choppy activity. Markets in the U.S. will close early today due to a national day of mourning for former President Jimmy Carter. Weekly export sales data is also delayed until tomorrow. Soybeans mostly lower in early trade, with losses in soy meal countering the gains in soy oil. The March contract only a half cent lower, though, at $9.94 per bushel. The USDA will release its monthly supply-demand projections tomorrow, with opinions divided ahead of the report on whether the agency will raise or lower its soybean ending stocks projections. Any adjustments to South American production estimates will also be followed closely. Shifting weather forecasts out of South America remain a key driver of the markets for the time being, with dry areas of both Argentina and Brazil looking to receive some welcome moisture over the next few days. The corn market also seeing price adjustment ahead of tomorrow's reports. The March contract up a penny at $4.55 per bushel. Average pre-report guesses are calling for tightening U.S. corn ending stocks. Wheat futures, meanwhile, are mostly lower despite cold temperatures across parts of the U.S. plains and concerns over possible winter kill. Minneapolis spring wheat down 3 cents in the March contract at $5.82 per bushel. Kansas City also 3 cents lower in March at $5.47 per bushel. Chicago soft wheat down 4 cents in the March contract at $5.32 per bushel. Friday's USDA report will include winter wheat acreage estimates, with average pre-report expectations calling for a similar area to the 33.4 million acres seeded last year. That's a look at the ICE futures and U.S. markets for Thursday, January 9th. In Winnipeg, for MarketsFarm.com, I'm Phil Franz Workington.
With all that snow out there, you're going to need Butler Farm Equipment. Stop in and check out their lineup of snow removal equipment, including walking behind snow blowers for tractors, snow buckets, sand spreaders, snow blades, plus snow wings for tractors and skid steers. Tackle snow days with ease with help from Butler Farm Equipment. Decades of delivering great service in the Peace region. See them on 107th Street in Fort St. John or visit them online at butlerfarmequipment.ca.
The opinions expressed on this show do not represent those of the station. If you've missed any of the shows, you can follow the podcast at Energeticcity.ca. Welcome to This Week in the Peace, a show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace region. Here's your hosts, Dub Craig and Steve Berard.
Welcome to the show. Later, I'll be joined by Lane Casavant, one of the 2 artists featured in Realm of Fantasy, the latest art exhibit opening today at Peace Gallery North.
But first, 2 local paramedics are celebrating major long service milestones with BC Emergency Health Services. To commemorate their long careers and the incredible work they do, we're speaking today with John Bulte, the Fort St. John Unit Chief, and Dawn Reierson, a primary care paramedic out of Dawson Creek. John, Dawn, thank you guys for coming on the show today.
All right, glad to be here. Thanks.
So starting with John and then Dawn, can you guys tell me a little bit about yourselves and sort of what drew you to work with BC Emergency Health Services in the first place?
Well, I think Dawn and I probably, we started off with the first aid, doing first aid in industry, and then mine was like first aid competitions in the interior and the Kootenays, and then got asked by one of my captains of our team that we were on if I was interested in helping out, joining, doing a community service thing, providing service and ambulance or first aid for local residents if needed and when.
Yeah, I got started in a first aid classroom as well. I was really blessed that the teacher I had to teach me my basic level 3 showed me a little bit about the human anatomy and got me a little excited about it. So before long, it took me a few years, but I finally joined BC Ambulance and have thoroughly enjoyed it ever since. I also had the pleasure of becoming a teacher for first aid as well, and to kind of follow in those mentors' footsteps as well. So between the two of them, I've had a wonderful career.
Awesome. Have you guys worked in the Peace region for your whole careers, or have there been any other stops along the way?
For myself, I started off in the Kootenays, which was in 1984. Served there for about 15 years, then went to Revelstoke for 5 years, and then been here since 2003.
Okay.
And on my 5th 5-year plan.
I was blessed to grow up around Dawson Creek. I've been here since I was about 3 years old, and to actually be able to serve in my hometown for my entire career has been pretty wonderful. So,
100%, absolutely. So, John, you're celebrating 40 years with BC Emergency Health Services. Don, you're celebrating 25. How does it feel to receive recognition from BC Emergency Health Services after you've poured that much of your life into it?
It's very humbling. We did it because we enjoy the work, as Don mentioned, love serving our communities. We're pretty committed to our communities along with our colleagues we work with. The camaraderie is amazing. And we do it to help people, and very rewarding, and can't believe 40 years has gone by.
You're right, John. It just feels like yesterday we started this. Yeah. So, time flies when you're having fun, I guess is the way to put it. But we've been very fortunate to be able to do our careers as long as we have, and it feels almost surreal to actually have it recognized.
100%. Don, I read in sort of the press release that BC Emergency Health Services sent out about this, that you're deeply committed to being there for the people of Dawson Creek when they need help. Are you hoping to one day commemorate 40 years of work yourself, or is that sort of the plan?
My goal is I always tease everybody they're going to have to bury me at work. I absolutely love my job. I want to do this for as long as humanly possible, do my best to look after my physical and mental health so that I can do that. And I like being able to serve in my hometown and my community. I'm helping my mom's friends, my kids' friends. It's been quite a joy to see all the different generations come through the service. So.
John, it mentioned in the press release as well that you used to work in the forestry industry and you kind of split your time between forestry and working as a paramedic. Tell me a little bit about how that felt and how you were able to split that time.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, joined to the community service thing just to help out on weekends and evenings when I wasn't at work in the forest industry. But yeah, like I said earlier, it started with much like Don got my level 3 first aid, and then in order to keep my skills up or have some hands-on, I joined the ambulance service, and I encouraged everybody who's got a level 3 ticket since then to join the service just for that experience and the hands-on portion and the free training and that goes with it. And then I went less logging, more BC ambulance, and then here we are, 25 years of full-time, part-time for a while, and now a full-time role since 2012.
Awesome. So for someone who is listening to this and maybe they're interested in getting that first aid training and then maybe eventually becoming a paramedic themselves, do either of you guys have any advice for someone who is interested in entering this industry today?
Please come and play with us. It's such a rewarding career to being able to make a difference in people's lives. And it's real simple to get in with us. We have a wonderful webpage they can go on. It has all the information for them. Recommendation, you just basically get a Class 4 driver's license, you apply, and we help walk you through all the steps to get into the seat of an ambulance. So.
Awesome. John?
Yep. As Donna said, it's an amazing time to get in. I wish I was 20 again. It's really cool to see these young kids getting full-time positions, getting a career, and not having to do, multiple years of part-time service. So it's a fantastic time to get in. If you're thinking about it all, give us a call. Go to our website. We can get you additional information. And our talent acquisition people have got it streamlined so that you'd get an interview within a week or two if you do your part of the process as far as filling out the paperwork, getting that criminal record check, those things.
Awesome. For people who maybe are interested but they're on the fence, can you guys maybe tell me a little bit about what the day-to-day at your job looks like?
Well, that's the best thing about our job is it's different every day. You're not behind a desk somewhere. You're always out in the community having different challenges. If I do the same call twice, it'll never happen. So we have that opportunity to be in people's homes in some of the worst moments of their lives and make a big difference for them, to give them a little bit of peace and security. So a day, we work about a 12-hour day, and during that time we'll get to interact with maybe 4 or 5 different sick people during that period of time, anything from minor illnesses and transfers all the way up to life-saving opportunities. So it's a little bit of everything. It's very fluent, it's very movable, and it's wonderful to have a different challenge every day.
Exactly right. We don't know what we're going to get when we walk in the door at the start of our shift, and that's kind of the cool part. And it's always changing, rarely the same. We get to develop some pretty good rapport with some of our people that we may see more than once. And again, just give an opportunity to be there when somebody's having like Dawn mentioned, possibly the worst day of their life.
100%. Absolutely. Now, obviously, as a paramedic, like you guys talking about worst days of some people's lives, obviously it's a very serious job, but I've heard stories. I have family members and friends who are paramedics, and I've heard some stories of some of the more lighthearted calls. Are there any interesting work stories, interesting calls that you guys would be willing to tell us about?
Yeah, there's a loaded question.
Let me rephrase it a bit. What's the funniest call that you feel comfortable talking about on the radio?
Oh my goodness. It's all different varieties and in between, and what we find funny and what the patients find funny might be a slightly different categories as well. So that makes a big difference there as well. But to anybody who phones 911, it is an emergency to them, and they're feeling unsafe or unsure. And so it's just nice sometimes to be able to put some lightheartedness into some of the stuff that happens with them, and to let them know that it's okay and they're safe. And if the paramedics are cracking jokes, they're probably okay. And so we try to do our best to make it a little lighthearted for them. You get a sweet old lady to giggle or a little kid to laugh, and it's more rewarding that way for them as well.
Yeah, we get into people's homes, and as we're chatting and getting the lowdown on what's going on for them, during that time we get to look around and we see the pictures of who they were when they're younger, and I find that pretty interesting. That this person might be 80 or 90 years old and have some medical conditions, but you look back and you see when they're in their prime and some of their pictures and some of the things they have in their home, and it really is kind of cool. You can get chatting about their life and things, and it's pretty exciting.
100%.
Yeah, we'll get old nurses or old World War I vets, or World War II vets, and it's just interesting to actually see their lives and to be a part of their challenges. So.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So for people who are interested, maybe they don't want to become a paramedic, but they just want first aid training, or they want to learn more about BC Emergency Health Services, where should they go to learn about that? Where should they go to read that? Is there somewhere online, a Facebook page, a website?
I suggest everybody gets first aid training, period. Not just because I teach it, but it's just such a wonderful, valuable resource. You never know when you're going to need it. The first 5 minutes is the most crucial in anybody's recovery. And as much as I love driving that ambulance like a maniac, I can't always get it there in 5 minutes. So I think it's wonderful that people get first aid every opportunity they can. And John could probably talk to the webpage to get on BC Ambulance.
Yeah, that you can even call the local station if you like, and we can answer that question for you. One of the things, like, if you're even thinking about this job at all, take a first aid course and see if it's something that whets your appetite. And then we also have a riding third program that you could sign up for as a bit of a process, not a lengthy one, but you can ride third on a couple of shifts with us just to kind of see and hear what the job's about. So that's another option that just came back. That was away for a while, but now it's back. So that's another option if somebody's really interested. Come ride third.
Okay, awesome.
I don't know about John, but that's where I started, was riding third on the ambulance just to see what it was like. So.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else either of you guys want to add while we still have you here?
Yeah, so the riding third term might not mean something to the general public. It's an observer shift, right? So you're being an observer on the calls. You're not we're not getting you involved in the call, but you just watch what's going on. And,
Right.
yeah. But I'm thankful to the province for this service. Like, it's come a long ways in the last 15, 20 years. The training, the equipment, it's moving along very quickly. It's a great place to work. Like John said, come
I
join
also
us.
do want to thank our communities too for how much they've supported us. They have been the ones that walked beside us. One of the things they brought up at our awards is how our families and our communities and our towns have walked beside and protected us and looked after us as we continue on to help them. So we want to send a big thank you back to them as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you guys so much for your time today. We really appreciate you guys coming on.
Well, thank you, sir.
No worries, and congratulations. That was John Bulte and Dawn Reierson with BC Emergency Health Services. We'll be right back with artist Lane Casavant on This Week in the Piece.
Make the best decisions for your life with the help from Janot Notaries. Strengthening the Fort St. John community, the team at Janot Notaries are here to guide you through the process of real estate transfers, wills and estate planning, and of course, notarizations. They have been serving the community for the past 7 years and invite you to come and see them at their new location on 101st Avenue in the Janot building across from the old hospital with plenty of parking. Learn more at fsjnotary.com.
I'm all about the DP.
Nah, Pepsi all the way.
Come on, you gotta do the do.
Head to your Fort St. John Co-op for Thirsty Thursday, where you can buy one big cool slushie and get a second for half price. Choose from Pepsi, Mountain Dew, 7-Up, Dr. Pepper, or one of our 4 crush flavors. Thirsty Thursday at your Fort St. John Co-op gas bar on 100th Street. You're at home here.
Get your two-way radio installed by the professionals at TNT Communications. They are mobile, so if you can't go to them, they can go to you. Need to buy a radio? They currently have a large selection of ICOM and High-Terra radios in stock. If you need better cell signal, they can help with that too. Get on down to TNT Communications today and see what they can do for you. You can find them in the Big Blue Bell building at 7920 Alaska Road.
The truck you've been waiting for is here at Murray GM and FSJ. The 2025 Sierra and Silverados are rolling in weekly, packed with new features and bold designs. These trucks are redefining what's possible. Come and see what's different and why we're different. Experience the friendly, knowledgeable team at Murray GM who make finding your perfect truck a breeze. Visit us in-store or online at murraygmc.com and drive into the new year in style.
The Great Canadian Oil Change is back in Fort St. John with a brand new state-of-the-art facility. They offer oil changes in 15 minutes, tire rotations, and all regular maintenance needed for your vehicle, all of which can be done without having to leave your car and with no appointment. Whether it's a simple swap like changing a tail light or something a little more in-depth like changing your fuel filter, their expert technicians know how to keep your car on the road. The Great Canadian Oil Change, now open on the corner of Alaska Road and 101st Street. Convenient, trusted, expert care.
Moose Country weather.
Today you can expect a high of 3 degrees, mainly cloudy skies with a little bit of sun. Later tonight, -1, cloudy. Tomorrow, sun's going to come out, mix of sun and clouds, and high of 3 degrees. And on Sunday,
you can watch this show live on Facebook. Catch the replays at Energeticcity.ca or be part of the show by texting your thoughts to the Fort City Chrysler line at 250-787-2222.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Dub. A brand new art exhibit is opening at Peace Gallery North tonight called Realm of Fantasy. I am so excited about this one. The show features works by artists Lane Casavant and Valerie Ross, and Lane joins us here to tell us a bit more about the whole thing. Lane, thank you for coming on This Week in the Piece.
Thank you.
There it is. I put on the wrong microphone. My apologies. Lane, I appreciate your time today. I wanted to start first with kind of your journey as an artist a bit. Tell us a bit about that. When did you start creating beyond, the kind of stuff you did as a kid?
Beyond finger painting at school? I've always been interested in art. I don't know, and then we all have our lives and have kids, and you kind of push it away to the side.
It gets harder to make time for it.
Yeah. And then as I found I got older, I was like, I want to get back into art again. And I love all kinds of art.
Mm-hmm.
So I call myself more of a crafter than an artist.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to try it all.
I see. So you don't really focus on sort of one, medium or what have you. So.
No, I kind of want to do a bit of everything.
So would you say then, did you, after taking some time where you weren't doing it very much or at all because you were raising a family, when you did come back to it, did you kind of go back to sort of the things you were familiar with before, or was it kind of like starting sort of over again?
It was kind of like starting over. It's like anything, right? The more you do it, the better you get at it. You quit it and you have to figure out again how to do things. I always loved drawing. Both my grandparents were amazing painters. Mm-hmm. So I do come, and my grandpa was a carver. But when I got back into it, I started making wood jewelry.
Okay.
And then Barbell from Taylor that used to run our Peace Island Park, she was doing cottonwood bark carvings, and I loved them.
Wow.
And so then I was like, I want to learn to do that. So I started doing that, and then that just got my interest going, I want to try drawing again. I want to try painting again. And then it just kind of snowballed into, So, that's how I kind of got back into it. But I love still carving is my favorite to do. Yeah.
Interesting.
So there will be some carvings at the art show.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What do you find kind of inspires you? Is there something you kind of go back to again and again where you're like, I want to create this, or I think I've thought of this, or are you kind of inspired by lots of different things, do you think?
Lots of different things. I kind of like more for my carving wise, like Lord of the Rings and that kind of fantasy kind of shows.
Okay.
Because my faces aren't really realistic-y. Mm-hmm. They're more kind of, they got big bobbly noses, and, they're a little more fantasy kind of looking, I would say. But anything, like driving, you see something you like and you go, I want to paint that when I get home. But...
I see.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's kind of realm of fantasy, this show kind of is right up your alley then, I suppose.
Kind of, yeah. I'm a little nervous because Valerie Ross is an amazing painter. Mm-hmm. So I was so nervous about, like I said, I call myself a crafter. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, God, it's going to be the craft lady and the artist. But her stuff is amazing. And when we hung the show yesterday, that was my most nervous day, was like, what is she going to think of my stuff?
Yeah.
Because she does such realistic stuff, like her faces and her animals, and mine's more like, So, yeah. But it looks amazing together. Yeah.
Wonderful.
With all our stuff together. Yeah.
So. How did you two kind of get hooked up together on this? Was this like you knew each other already and said we could do this, or tell me a bit about that?
I joined the group Flying Colors, and I was carving a dragon at when we all get together once every couple weeks. We all get together and everybody brings a project to do and we visit. Mm-hmm. And I was carving a dragon, and Flo, that used to run the art gallery, came over and said, what are you carving? And I said, a dragon. She goes, I know a lady who wants to do an art show called Fairies, because it was going to be just fairies and dragons. And she goes, would you be interested in being in an art show? And I was like, sure, I've never done an art show. Okay.
Oh, so this is the first time you're sort of exhibiting your work?
Yeah, okay. So I'm
Very
a little nervous, but yeah. So, and that's where I got started, and that was 3 years ago. So we had 3 years to get ready.
Yeah.
So...
were you preparing work? Like, I guess my question is then, did you go, okay, I need to make this many pieces and I made them? Okay, so it's not like you had a bunch of stuff already that you had ready to
go. No. Okay. So we have to I think it was a 40-piece show, around 40 pieces. So I was to do 20, Valerie was to do 20. So
wow.
Yeah, so I had to come up with 20 pieces, and 3 years, I'm thinking, what's the time? No.
Did you interact with Valerie a lot, kind of as this was going on, like to sort of
a little bit, because she goes up to up north. She comes down in the winter to be with her mom down here in the winter, and then in the summer she goes to visit her daughter up I think she's in the Yukon.
Okay.
Yeah. So the communication was a little bit short there because there wasn't a lot of internet up that way. So we'd email, she'd send me a picture and I'd say, okay, well, this is what I'm doing. Yeah. And then, but yeah, it was, so her stuff and my stuff, we got to see for the first time yesterday, which was nice. Yeah.
I don't expect you to speak for Valerie, but if you can you speak a bit to sort of even what sort of inspires you? You mentioned like Lord of the Rings and that sort of like high fantasy. Yeah. Valerie kind of sort of, is her stuff sort of similar? Or?
She got into, or she said that she's been doing a lot of like realistic paintings, like, frogs and flowers and that. Yeah. And she said, I just want to go back to something different. Like more fantasy. And so that was her idea. And yeah, I loved it. So I was like, sure, like, let's do this. Yeah.
Awesome.
But
all right. Well, if you can, then I mean, you've sort of answered it already, but tell us a bit about what we're going to see tonight and over the next month at the art gallery in terms of some of the pieces, maybe a surprise.
There's a little bit of everything because, like I said, it started off just going to be fairies and dragons, and then Valerie said, "Let's do fantasy so we can add more." So she has a Pegasus and some, so
even the title "Realm of Fantasy"
Yeah.
invokes fantastical sort of thinking and whatnot.
Fantastical beings, right? Yeah. So there's my stuff is not so much as if you've seen a fairy, a picture of a fairy, I built a set of kind of like paper mache plaster wings that come off a canvas. Okay. So you just see the wings. That's it.
Interesting.
And Valerie's got some beautiful paintings of, like, she's got a horse that looks like it's kind of flying I think it looks like it's kind of flying in the Northern Lights.
Oh, yeah.
You only see its head, but yeah, she's got a couple Pegasus. Yeah, she's got some beautiful works there, but they definitely all kind of, I was worried that we weren't going to meld together because, like I said, my stuff is more crafty because I'm not much of an artist. I'd love to learn to paint more, but it's like anything, you got to practice to get that right, that muscle memory kind of thing back. But yeah, it all looks great together. It's going to be a good show, I think.
And I think so. It's tonight at 7 till 8:30.
Yes.
You and Valerie will both be there, so you can see the art, talk about the art with the artists, which is always a great time, and always refreshments. And I believe free to attend, like it always is at the art gallery. So
there'll be no white canvases with bananas taped to it with duct tape. I love that piece of art. I'm thinking, okay.
Well, good to know. Just fairy wings taped to the
Just fairy wings taped to the walls, right?
All right. Well, check out Realms of Fantasy. The opening reception is tonight, again, at 7 o'clock at Peace Gallery North. Free to attend, family friendly, speak to the artists. If you can't make it tonight, you got a month to stop by the gallery. Again, always free to just walk in there and check out everything. They have lots of cool stuff for sale, but if you don't have the cash, you can just check out the art too. So always great to check it out. Anything else you want to say before I let you go, Lane?
Valerie also made some cards. So, for people who want to buy something that's not a piece of art, I made some dragon earrings to sell too. So there's pieces that are going to be prices that you could
I was going to say too, are any of the works for sale as well?
I think so. I think all of them are for sale. Yep.
Okay, so that's good to know. If you want to support local art, you can also do so by checking that out. Valerie, pardon me, Lane, thank you so much for coming by and chatting with us today, and good luck tonight.
Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. That's Lane Casavant, who's her exhibit Realm of Fantasy with Valerie Ross opens tonight at Peace Gallery North. Where am I here?
Bottom of page 3.
I think I lost it, Steve. You're gonna have to just go ahead, man.
Thanks again to John Thanks again to John Bulte and Dawn Reierson for joining us today on This Week in the Piece, and thank you for tuning in. You can listen to this show again by checking out the podcast at Energeticcity.ca/podcasts. We'll store this and future episodes of the show there as we make them. Also, check out our other locally produced podcasts, Before the Peace and Secrets of the North as well. That's our show. I'm Steve Berard, and for Dub Craig, who can't find his notes, be well.
Join us again next Friday morning at 10 for another edition of This Week in the Peace, your weekly talk show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace Region. Or you can listen to this podcast again at Energeticcity.ca.